Welcome. My name is Shannon Novosel, and I'm a senior broker, an independent broker for Pinnacle Elite. We are an Aegon company. Our parent company, Aegon, is a $500 billion company out of the Netherlands. And thankfully, here in the US, we're able to be independent brokers with 70 of the top A-rated companies in the financial services and insurance industry. Our mission is no family left behind. How do we do that? By making sure people are getting their financial education that they never got in school. So we teach 3 rules of money that are able to help people start winning the money game because they're learning the rules. Just like Monopoly, it's really hard to win if you don't know how to play. So how do we help people win the money game? The rule of 72 was popularized by Albert Einstein, and it teaches us how interest compounds. So you take 72 and you divide it by the interest rate that you're earning on your money. We know most bank accounts do not get 1%. So if you take 72 and you divide it by 1%, that means the money is going to be doubling every 72 years or way more in a bank account where you're not seeing that rate of return because banks don't grow our money. What do banks do? They lend it out. Banks lend money. So they charge us 12, 24, 29% interest rates on credit cards. They charge us high rates of return right now on mortgages. A lot of people think they're really high right now. They're high historically. And you look at all the ways that banks charge interest. So what are banks doing with that money? Well, let's say the credit card charges 12%. So you take 72, divide it by 12% interest. That means that banks are getting a double of that interest that they're charging on our money every 6 years, while what's also happening is America's credit card debt doubling every 6 years. So I always ask people, when your money is accumulating, would you rather put your money in the bank or would you rather put your money where the bank puts their money? Then we have to talk about protection phase. There's 3 ways money grows. It's fixed, variable, index. So no growth, which is like a savings account, a CD, anything where your interest rate is fixed. Variable is anything that goes up and down. The interest rate varies. This is what most people think when they think of investment. Traditionally, investments have all been risk-based. For example, 401ks, IRAs, mutual funds, stocks. Answer me this, parents. Would you ever put your child in a variable performing vehicle? Of course not. So why would we put all of our money in a variable performing solution? And that's what I'm super grateful to have been able to learn, that indexing is a 3rd way that we can grow money consistently. And all indexing is it's growing money, mirroring the stock market indexes. So for example, when the S&P 500 goes up, your money goes up with it. It mirrors it. But when it drops, like it has been very repeatedly over the last 6 months, your money is locked in at the high water mark and it stays put. So you can't lose your money to market risk. And a lot of people call this the stairway to heaven. Warren Buffett is a huge endorser. And it's showing people that you also can grow money without risk, where you're getting a consistently positive rate of return, where your interest is compounding. The 3rd rule of money, there's 3 ways the growth of money gets taxed. So we pay our taxes on our income. Anytime we take that money and we go put it in any of the vehicles in tax now, that means we're paying the taxes. When we take that money out, we're paying taxes on the gains. So for example, if you want to take out $1,000 in Amazon stock, well, when that money grows to 2,000 and you go to take that money out, do you get to keep all of the 2,000? No, of course not. Uncle Sam is withholding some in capital gains taxes. Then we have to talk about tax later. Examples of tax later: 401k, 403b, IRA, annuities, pensions. All of these defer taxes to later. So a popular example is, instead of paying your taxes now, which I'm going to ask you, do you think US income tax rates are the highest or the lowest they've ever been? We're actually at one of the lowest. Even though a lot of people say highest, it feels high all the time. However, we're at one of the lowest income tax rates we've ever been at. So if we know that we are actively deferring taxes to later, we are not choosing to pay taxes now when taxes are low, what do you think is going to happen when we're 59 and a half years old and we are responsible for all of the taxes of our nest egg? Who knows what taxes are going to be when we're 59 and a half? But if we're at one of the lowest income tax rates we've ever been at, it's called math, right? We just took on trillions of dollars of debt as a country last year and the year before with the pandemic. So we know that as a math problem, taxes are most likely going up if you look at it. So that being said, tax later could be a risky place to grow money if you're deferring the taxes. And now guess what? You're responsible for the entire nest egg that you don't know how much you actually get to keep when you need it the most. Tax advantage allows us to take advantage of the discount that Uncle Sam is giving us on taxes today. By paying taxes at the lowest income tax rate we've had in our nation's history, or in a very long time, we're paying the taxes today on our income. And then we never have to worry about ever paying the taxes on the gains. When we go to take that money out in a tax advantage strategy, you don't pay any of the taxes. And that is what most people are wanting to learn more about. They're wanting tax advantage growth, anywhere from someone that's paycheck to paycheck to multi-million dollar business owners and everywhere in between. Thankfully, we don't have to charge a dime for our services. They're complimentary. We're independent brokers. We are paid by the companies that do business with us. Our job is education. We are paid by those companies, so we never have to charge our clients a dime. So if you saw value in today, guess what? I'm going to go over just a few solutions that can help you implement the index strategy and tax advantage, where if you're eligible, if you're able to be able to save that way, then there's several things that can come into that, several factors. But what we found is most people are stuck here in fixed interest or variable, and there's no in between. So a lot of people wish they had indexed as a way to complement what they're already doing. Then you have to think about taxes. Is your entire nest egg taxable, or is some of your nest egg tax advantage? Do you get to keep some, right? Or all of it? Most people wish they had a tax-free retirement, and that's what we're here to help you do. So for example, the most common solution, our flagship solution, is the family bank. Instead of putting money in a bank that's not growing your money, what if your family had their own bank? What if you had a money tree in your backyard that grew your money and you could borrow from yourself? You don't need a corporate bank. So family banking is a strategy that allows you to have access to your money before 59 and a half. It's tax-free when you take it out, and there are no fees based on the fact that if you wanted to take that money out of there, the only thing that you might be liable for is a small transaction fee within the first 10 years. After that, you have access to all of the money in your account. So if your retirement window is outside of 10 years, guess what? You have full access to your money just like you would a bank account, except this one, obviously most bank accounts do not come with market risk, but they also are losing to inflation. This account is averaging 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% rates of return. Because why? It's mirroring the stock market indexes. But on average, let's just say you're getting consistently 6, 10, 12% rate of return. The growth is uncapped. So without downside market risk, you have protection of your principal, you have protection of your legacy, you have a death benefit that allows you not only to insure your family while you're living, but it also makes sure that you have access to that death benefit as a living benefit. You have access to that death benefit so that you can afford medical bills. And I'll go into that on the next slide. You also have a tax-free retirement. All the money that's growing inside your family bank is completely tax-free when you take it out. And then you have the 3-for-1 strategy. Family bank, living benefits, Everest. All of these solutions are now combined into one vehicle. So the family bank also has living benefits. What do I mean by that? Well, instead of paying for something that you have to die to get the benefit of in traditional life insurance, which a lot of people call death insurance, why do I want to pay for something that I have to die to get the benefit of? Life insurance isn't a savings tool. Well, guess what? We have put the life back into life insurance, where the living benefits that are offered through one of our flagship solutions, you have access to the death benefit for a critical, which are listed here, heart attack, stroke, cancer, a chronic, which means you can't perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. So bathing, dressing, eating on your own, you need help with it. And then a terminal illness means that if you're diagnosed with less than 12 months to live, you have access to up to 100% of the policy value. So it's a huge deal that not only is your family bank growing your money inside the policy, but you're also having access to the death benefit in the form of living benefits. So that's just one solution that we're able to offer. Another one is term insurance. Term insurance usually does not come with living benefits. Thankfully, the industry has evolved, and now you can have term insurance that comes with living benefits. It also, the family bank account can also come with a funeral concierge component. This means that your family, if something were to happen to you today, who's responsible for planning your funeral? Who's responsible for taking care of your body? All of the things that we don't like to think about until when it's too late. So we have a 24/7 funeral concierge service that allows us to plan our funeral, to shop for the coffins that we want, for the funeral plots that we want, for the burial sites that we want, all of that at your fingertips. And that comes included with some of the solutions that we provide. Tenzing is unlimited storage. So you can store important videos, important photos that you want to make sure are played at your funeral, or that you get to keep in there. You don't have to pay for Apple storage every month. You can put it in your Tenzing account for unlimited storage. Will prep. I was young and I was like, I don't need a will because I don't have any assets. But guess what? It's always smart to have a will in place, because otherwise your assets can go through probate, which adds a lot of fees and it adds a lot of delay in your belongings and your family getting what you wanted them to after you pass away. Quick pay is probably the most exciting feature of this solution, is that it allows you to be advanced up to $25,000 of your death benefit within 72 hours. Within 72 hours, your family gets paid out the living benefits. They get paid the death benefit to them. Sorry, excuse me, not living, death benefit to your family. So up to 25,000 advance, and it's able to take care of all the funeral needs. So that is Everest. It is final expense and whole life insurance, but it is also added on to the family bank option. It also is a standalone service, but it's a service that most people never think about until it's too late. And then the last thing I'll show you guys, there is incredible historic performance that you can see compared against what the S&P 500 actually performed at from the late 90s here to right here at 2020. And then if you had your family bank account, which the technical term, index universal life insurance, it's a tax code. That's all it is. 401k is the tax code that's most common amongst, I'll just say the middle class. And then I will say 7702 is the most common tax code amongst the wealthy. So let me ask you, would you rather put $250,000 in a mutual fund, 401k, or an IRA? Or would you rather put $250,000 where you have a floor, where you can never lose your money? So in a negative year like 2000, negative 12%, you lost negative 12% if you had your money in a variable investment. But if you had your money in index universal life insurance or 7702, a tax code, you would have not lost a dime. Your investment would have stayed exactly where it was, or your savings vehicle would be exactly where it was. You can't lose money to market risk in these accounts. So over time, remember the $250,000, you've already paid the taxes on it. So after 20 years, you've got $2 million of tax-free cash value. When you take that money out, it's tax-free. However, in a 401k or an IRA or mutual funds, all of the gains are taxable. So let's just say, for example, the taxes might be at 25%, but what if they were higher? Didn't we say taxes are at one of the lowest they've ever been? What happens to your nest egg when taxes go up? You get to keep less. Your family gets less. So we help people understand what's happening in the retirement landscape, shifting from risk-based investing to insuring their money and making sure that they get guarantees on their principal. The last couple of things I'll say is you have the rollover. The rollover is another option. It's another of our flagship solutions that gives people who have old money. How many of you have old money sitting in an old 401k or an IRA? It's just sitting there, and they always say it's like leaving money in your ex's bank account. Never want to do it. So it helps you get a grip on your money. You get guarantees of your principal. So what that means is if you have a rate of return of 5, 10, 15% rate of return, you're looking at, okay, what is my money doing in the market versus what is my money doing if I'm getting my entire principal totally protected without any downside. And that's what we call an index strategy. The last main component that this option offers people as a fixed indexed account is that it gives them pension income for life, guaranteed income for life. Because what are most people over the age of 50 worried about? Outliving their money. So what that does is it guarantees pension-like income. And the last thing is a lot of people have lost 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% losses over the last 3 to 6 months. So what if I could show you how to make sure that you get to make that up with a signing bonus? 5, 10, 15, 20, 30% signing bonus when you roll money out of an old 401k, an IRA, or you have a chunk of change that you've just sold a property and you're trying to prevent, maybe you're trying to prevent capital gains taxes. Before you sell the property, we're able to help people with understanding how the tax code works. And there's a possibility that you could be saving on capital gains taxes before you sell your piece of real estate, your property, or just protecting the money you've already saved so that it's working for you more efficiently. The last option is that the IUL versus the 529. So all my mamas and papas out there, this part's for you. If you have tax deferred growth in a 529, both of those have it. However, the issues with the 529 is there's a lot of red tape because it's a government account. It's a government account that is only used toward specific education-based needs. So if you look at all of these different options for after-tax contributions, when you take the money out, it is after tax. And so therefore you don't ever have to worry about paying taxes on it. However, if the 529 contributions are not used toward education, it's taxable and subject to penalty. With the IUL, you can use it to pay for your children's car or a part of it. You can use it to take out a down payment on a house for them. You can use it to use for their full retirement down the road. This account is also called $1 million baby account. And this is what the Rockefellers set up for their children. If you see the book on the bottom right, what would the Rockefellers do? How the wealthy get and stay that way and how you can too. So I will end on that note. For those of you that saw something where you're like, man, I learned something new. I'm excited to learn more. How does that apply to me? Am I eligible? Can I qualify? That's when we sit down with someone and we help them understand what their options are. And none of that do we ever have to charge a dime to them. So thank you all for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.